is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock. He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it. The Ducks have won.
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Oregon's a Fiesta Bowl champion in a 12-win season.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Welcome into the Country Financial Studio on a Monday. A whole lot went down over the weekend. It's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I'm Ryan Milano, breaking down the weekend that was for Oregon Athletics. Both the men's and the women's team at Matthew Knight Arena going into battle against two really tough opponents on both sides for the men and the women. We already broke down the win for the men against Arizona State, the game that happened on Thursday. Joey broke it down on Friday, so got your fix of the Ducks versus the Sun Devils as Oregon continued to win on the men's basketball front. But difficult weekends across the board for both the men and the women, as the women welcomed in number 16 and number 3 in the mountain schools. Everyone in the Pac-12 is so good right now at women's basketball. Oregon starting a stretch of 7 consecutive ranked opponents. Yeah, that is a tremendous stretch, the first 2 of which this weekend against both Utah and Colorado. Also, the men, after the win against Arizona State, matched up against Arizona. Another top 10 teams, the Wildcats, came into town. You know that there's always a little extra juice between the Ducks and the Wildcats, in particular on the men's basketball floor. And, well, there was again in this one that happened on Saturday. It was a little bit of an earlier tip, about 2:30 when the tip was at Matthew Knight Arena, but it was an Oregon versus Arizona team where both teams had a lot to play for. Oregon trying to get the sweep of the weekend. Arizona coming off of a loss earlier in the weekend against Oregon State. And Arizona's really good under Tommy Lloyd, especially coming off of a loss. Beat their opponents by a lot, actually, normally after a loss. And, well, Oregon had to bring their A game against Arizona if they were going to compete against the Wildcats. And, well, compete Oregon did, but the Ducks got down a little bit early by a little bit too wide of a margin, and it felt like for the entire game Oregon was chasing, trying to get back to that mark to go back and compete with the Wildcats to get it to a back and forth game. But ultimately it was the Wildcats who just had a little too much of a margin early in the first half that the Ducks just couldn't claw themselves out of. So some things in the ball game. Hoping Keyshawn Bartholomew is okay. He was injured early in the second half in this one. No update from Coach Altman. We'll hear from him in a second, but no update immediately after the game on Keyshawn Bartholomew. Hopefully we'll hear more when we hear from Coach Altman, continuing to go throughout the week as well. So hoping Keyshawn is okay. Also, a really nice job in replacement, seeing a few more minutes by Cario Oquendo, replacing some of those second half minutes from Keyshawn Bartholomew. Oquendo put in 13 points in 16 minutes, an efficient game for Cario Oquendo. How about the excitement at the end of the first half with the Ducks down pretty big? It looked like there was going to be a pretty sizable, maybe even double-digit deficit going into the halftime break, but you rely on your veterans, and the veteran Jermaine Kuznar, and when you have to have some magic, well, he found it. I almost want to take this basketball and reenact, but it could go any direction, and I think everything else is kind of, I'm not going to do it, but it was cool. It was really fun to see Jermaine Kuznar cross court. He made it in. It was a crazy shot. I at first wasn't even sure if he got it off, but then going back and watching it, he got it off and he got it in. The Ducks actually came into the second half with a little bit of momentum, and when you look at this game, there really weren't a whole lot of differences between the Ducks and the Wildcats in it. You go down the list, rebounding was pretty much even. About all the stats were pretty much even except for really two. Ducks turned the ball over just a little bit more, 14 compared to 10, and Arizona converted off of those turnovers, and also three-point percentage. Wildcats were knocking down their threes, and Oregon made a few, but not at the same clip as the Wildcats, and ultimately it was the offensive output for Arizona that was able to surpass them over the Ducks in the ballgame, where Oregon, they allowed 87 points. It was an 87-78 final, and we've heard Dana Altman talk about it. 80-point threshold, that's where the Ducks have to hold their opponents under, and Oregon didn't do that. Ducks now 1-6 when allowing 80 in the ballgame. Some key stats. Mentioned Kerry Oquendo's 13 and 16 minutes. Also Jermaine Couisnard, 20 points along with the full court heave. He had 5 assists and 4 rebounds as well in this one. And then N'Faly Dante, 19 points and 5 boards in the matchup against Arizona. Dana Altman with a lot of things to work on after the game. There's a whole lot to improve upon for Oregon, but the Ducks still at the top of the Pac-12 table, now tied with the Wildcats at the top of the Pac-12. 6-3 for the Ducks, 6-3 for the Wildcats, and then it's Colorado and Washington State chasing a half game back at 6-4. ASU with Stanford at 5-4. Those are the only teams that are above 500 in the Pac-12 conference. So the Ducks still very much in the mix for the Pac-12, both regular season title and as Oregon continues to move forward through Pac-12 play in seeding position for Vegas as we continue to look forward throughout the Pac-12 slate. But continuing to focus on this game against Arizona, a lot to clean up, and Dana Altman talked to the media about it. Here is Coach as he talked with the media postgame.
Really disappointing. Guys are disappointed. I'm really disappointed that, we didn't have them prepared better than that. They jump on us early there, and, we made a nice comeback, and then, had a 3-minute, waiting for the 4-minute TV timeout, and I made a mistake there, waiting for that. So just too many mistakes by the players, by me, to beat a good team. But defensively, we're not going to be successful giving up that many easy baskets. I mean, Love had a tremendous game. He's a tremendous player. But some of the looks we gave him were just way too easy. So really disappointed, and, we're just going to have to get better.
I feel like you guys matched their intensity at all. I feel like from the jump they just wanted to make it physical and intense.
Well, the way the game was called, you're just going to have to bend your knees and be more physical, and we had a hard time adjusting that at first. But no, we started getting on the boards after a bad start. They got a couple offensive rebounds early, and then we started getting back on the boards, starting to compete a little bit better there. But again, you score 78 points, and we had bad turnovers, which led to some really easy baskets for them. But the bottom line is we got to guard better. And they're a very good offensive team. All their players, are skilled and know their roles. Tom does a great job getting them where they're supposed to be. But still, defensively, you got to be better than that. He's at the hospital getting tests right now, and so we'll know for sure, but it didn't look good.
Dana, when you came out on the court to check on him, you had a really, seemed like a really visceral reaction to seeing him on the floor. What did you see, and just what was
and I don't know if I can say, for individual health reasons or, the laws or whatever. It just, it wasn't good. So that's all I can say.
Just given what the team's been through this season with injury, I mean, not only it being difficult for the team to see him go down and be injured, but just can you speak to sort of the emotions that the team's feeling from that?
Basketball's a great game. It's a fun game. It's the one bad thing, knee injury or wrist injury, foot, whatever. It takes away from the fun, and these guys come here to have fun and compete and play, and injuries are the one thing that really takes away from the fun. And Seeing him like that, you know, he had the plantar fasciitis last year that he tore, and he missed a bunch of the season, and you know, so I got bad ankles. So when I see bad ankles, it makes my stomach cringe. But he's, you know, he really was playing good. He really got a flow going there, and you know, just really sad to see it.
Then you hit that shot at the end of the first half. Looked like you're taking some momentum into the locker room. You know, what was the message at that point? And then obviously you had to have been disappointed to come out and have them go out.
Yeah, well, you know, the message was we got to quit turning the ball over. I think we had 11 turnovers at half. You know, we got to handle the ball better, fellas. We got to get some stops. You know, 45 points is way too many. And I think they scored the first 3 possessions of the second half. We took a couple questionable shots. So again, you know, we made too many mistakes, defensively, offensively, coaching, you know, to beat a good team. And like I said, I held on to that second timeout too long. I should have taken one earlier there. You know, defensively, I don't know what we could have changed, but we've got to find something because what we're doing now is not good enough.
And what makes them particularly challenging under Tommy? And I realize, like, it helps to have very good players, but whether it's Mathurin or Stifles or now Love, 3 of the 4 meetings, they've had some pretty big individual performances and scored north of 80 points. Now you also had a game in there where you held them like 60-something and blew them out here last season. But
yeah, no. I mean, bottom line, Mathurin's, you know, pretty good NBA player. Stifles had a big game against us. Love's probably going to be a pretty good NBA player. You know, they're pretty good players. But defensively, you're right. We did a poor job on them, and you're not going to beat, you know, those 3 teams that we played the last 3 years if you don't play well defensively. And we had a pretty decent effort defensively here, holding them to 68 last year. And when the score got in, they got 90 at their place or whatever. I mean, you know, we've played them twice down there, and this is the second time we've played them here. When the score gets up like that, you know, that's their athletes and their ability to score have taken over.
Did they do anything defensively to sort of rattle you guys at times? It seemed like offense seemed like it was a lot more rushed than, you know, you guys did.
Well, their pressure and their physicality, you know, probably did speed us up a little bit. We had, you know, some poor shot selection. Obviously, the turnovers, especially in the first half, really hurt us. But no, they just got after us, and we didn't do a good job of adjusting to the pace of the game.
When you saw how they lost the other night, did you figure they'd come out with a little more fire?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, competitive teams hate losing. And so, you know, as coaches, we always, we're going to get ready for every game the same, and you try to. But, you know, their focus as players, you know, they listen a little bit more after a loss. You know, when they're winning, you know, they listen to everybody else. But when they lose, then, well, what's the answer? And so they listen a little bit more after a loss.
How do you guys focus on hitting the reset button, just getting focused on what's a big road trip this week?
Yeah, we just take tomorrow and try to regroup, and we'll go. We got the LA schools this week, so it's obviously a big road trip. We're going to have to play well, and guys just have to regroup and get ready to go. Basketball season's a long season, a lot of ups and downs. This is a big down, so they will have to fight back, but we're all judged by how we overcome adversity. You know, when times are good, everybody's good. When times are bad, you got to find a way to bounce back. So hopefully our guys will regroup and we'll get some good leadership, and we'll be ready to go on Thursday.
What kind of spark did Kwame give off the bench for you today?
Well, got some deflections defensively and did some good things, especially in that first half. Missed a couple easy shots at the rim and had a couple bad turnovers, but no, I thought defensively got some deflections and steals that really helped us out.
That's Dana Altman talking about the game against Arizona. There were some positives in that game. Like I mentioned, the statistics were pretty even across the board outside of a few actually were Oregon led, but there were two big ones in terms of the turnovers and the three-point percentage in which Arizona led, and it gave them the difference. All right, that's Coach Altman talking about the game, and we come back after this timeout. It's going to be another player, N'Faly Dante. He's had some big moments against Arizona. He's breaking down the game for the Ducks on the hardwood on Saturday. Next after this on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays? The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Back here on Duck Insider, and it's not Joey, not Alex, just Ryan. It's just Ryan here on Duck Insider, here in the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. That is actually also not Alex or Joey either. That's Knight, who is holding up the hand. You'll need to, at the gym, you'll need to spray it, wash it, clean it up. Alex will be back. Let's make sure that it's tidy over there. I'm sure he won't mind. Nonetheless, we're holding it together, I think, here in the Country Financial Studio. Joey will be back on the show tomorrow, and then I'll have you the rest of the way throughout the week. Also, Tip-Off Tuesday coming up on Tuesday as well here from the Country Financial Studio. We're talking about the game for Oregon men's basketball over the weekend against Arizona and the Wildcats. The Ducks got the win over ASU on Thursday, and Oregon ended up dropping against Arizona on Saturday. Someone who's had a lot of big moments and a few highlight plays against the Wildcats in his career. N'Faly Dante. Earlier in the week, it was N'Faly Dante. One of his teammates actually said, you know that N'Faly doesn't need any more extra energy ramping up for a game against Arizona. And, he didn't put together 19 points and 5 rebounds, did N'Faly Dante. And here he is talking to the media after the game on Saturday.
Obviously, there's things you guys would have liked to do better defensively in that one, but when you have a teammate go down like Keyshawn did, how much harder does that make it to kind of lock in on the things you need to do?
Well, first of all, I feel sorry, and me personally, I don't want to see none of my team, no one going through this, but I'm just going to pray for him, and I hope he get better really soon. We need him.
You had a pretty visceral reaction when you saw him go down.
Yeah, for me personally, I've been through a lot. So see my teammate go like that, it's not something that I want to see. So I'm just going to keep praying for him and hope he get better really soon.
As one of the leaders of this team, how do you kind of help everyone hit the reset button as you go forward and have a very important road trip coming up this week?
Yeah, we don't have no other choice. We got tomorrow off and come back Monday, get back at it.
What have you seen from KJ? Obviously, he's played a lot as a freshman, but just from the start of the season to now, what have you seen from his play and how he's grown?
I think he's doing great. I think he's doing really good. I mean, he's just got to keep it up, and I'm so proud of him, what he did today. I wish we all do those little things so get a few buckets off, but I'm proud of him and proud of every single one of them, but we still got work to do.
That's the mindset to have if you're in Folly Dante. Proud of the teammates, proud of the work, but still work to do for Oregon basketball. And, well, there's another big weekend coming up for the Ducks on the hardwood. They go on the road to play against the LA schools as Oregon continues to move forward. And the Ducks still in the tournament, depending on who you look at, but close to the bubble. So Oregon, with work to do, Ducks still have to win to secure their spot into March, but also a weekend for Oregon coming up that the Ducks can get a few wins in. When you look at the standings in the Pac-12, well, at the bottom of the Pac-12 standings at 2-7 is USC, one of the upcoming opponents for the Ducks, and also UCLA having a little bit of a down year at 4-5. Also, Oregon's played against both USC and UCLA at points this year, and the Ducks ended up winning both games to open up Pac-12 play. Those games came before the turn of the new year on December 28th and December 30th, where the Ducks beat USC 82-74 and UCLA 64-59 at Matthew Knight Arena. So it will be Thursday at 7:30 for Oregon against USC down in Los Angeles, and then Saturday at 7 o'clock for the Ducks against the Bruins. Oregon, their net ranking as we continue to contextualize the Ducks in the Pac-12 season and looking forward towards the end of the year as Oregon continues to churn forward towards the Pac-12 tournament and towards March. Ducks up a spot in the net rankings to 54 after some of the games that went on yesterday for a few of the other teams in the NCAA around the Ducks, but Oregon still sitting in those mid to low 50s in the net ranking where the Ducks have pretty consistently been since they went on that run to start Pac-12 play. So Oregon right in the thick of things and winnable games on the road. The Ducks need to win coming up this weekend against the LA schools, and the key to doing that, well, Dana Altman's talked a lot about it over the last few weeks. Defense. Holding your opponent under 80 points. Those are the keys for Oregon. And we'll continue to talk about that matchup for Oregon men's basketball as well as so much more here on Duck Insider throughout the week, contextualizing men's basketball, looking forward to the weekend ahead. But we have to switch gears to the weekend that was for Oregon women's basketball against two highly touted teams in Utah and Colorado, both inside of the top 20. How did Oregon fare? It was a strong defensive performance for the Ducks, and we're going to talk about how the Ducks were able to succeed defensively as well as Oregon's battles with the mountain schools when we come back after this timeout on Duck Insider from the Country Financial Studios. We're back after this on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My name is Teresa Barber. I was in the United States Navy, and I served overseas in the Middle East and Africa. Early on in my career, I had a commander that taught our suicide prevention training, and the very next day, he took his own life. 90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. My way of continuing my service is to help protect my community by being a responsible gun owner and by storing firearms safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. Still just right. Thanks, Knight. If you're just listening with us on one of our radio affiliates, Knight is holding up what is Alex Stimson's hand. So, Alex, thanks for letting Knight take over your desk for the day. But it said on the hand, still just Ryan. It's just Ryan. Ryan Milano here, hosting Duck Insider here in the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. We're talking about Oregon women's basketball because we talked about Oregon men's basketball and how they continue to remain at the top of the table in the Pac-12, but Oregon women's basketball, they also hosted this weekend at Matthew Knight Arena, and they hosted two really established teams in Utah and Colorado who have been at the top of not only the Pac-12 standings, but also the national rankings over the course of this season. Utah came in at number 16 in the country, and they had the reigning Pac-12 Player of the Year, Alyssa Peely, in tow as well when they came in to face off against the Ducks on Friday night. And then on Sunday, it was Colorado, the number 3 team in the country, that came to town. And I thought that Oregon put together two pretty solid performances, in particular defensively, against both. For the Utah game, Oregon ended up dropping that one 58-48 in a game that was even more competitive than the final score would suggest. The Ducks didn't have their leading scorer in this one. Grace Van Slooten was out for the ball game, and she would eventually come back later in the weekend. So she played against Colorado, but out in the game against Utah. And so Oregon had to go to other options in terms of getting the ball into the basket, and Filipina Che, along with Chance Gray, really picked up the load for Grace Van Slooten in her absence, where Philly dominated this game early, not only on the offensive end, but also on the defensive side of the ball. Philly had 19 points and 16 rebounds. It's a pretty full stat line for another double-double for Philly, who seems to have one every game. It really does. It seems like every game that Philly hops onto the floor, it's another double-double for Philly, but she also played well defensively, containing that reigning Pac-12 Player of the Year in Alyssa Peely. Peely in the first half had 0 points, went 0 for 3 from the field, 1 rebound, her lone stat, along with 2 fouls and a turnover in her 9 minutes in the first half. So Oregon contained the leading scorer for Utah and really gave the Utes a lot of fits on the offensive side of things as the Ducks took a lead into the halftime break, and Oregon would maintain a lead for a majority of the ball game, behind Chance Gray as well, who played well, especially from the free throw line and especially from the fourth quarter. She scored 9 points in the first half and 9 points in the fourth quarter alone. And that fourth quarter, Oregon was back and forth with Utah the whole way through, all the way to a 3-point game with a few minutes left, and then Utah went on the late run to capture the win. Then against Colorado, Grace Van Slooten back, but the Ducks without Sophia Bell, as Bell went down with an injury in the Utah game. So still shorthanded for the Ducks, who are still waiting to get Kennedy Williams back as well from an injury. So Oregon battling through it throughout Pac-12 play, and the Ducks jumped out to an 8-7 lead early, but then Oregon, they couldn't find the basket. In the second quarter, actually, the Ducks, they just couldn't make a field goal. Oregon was getting to the basket, getting fouled, but we were down 31-11 at the half behind a strong second quarter by the Utes. It was just a really strong showing from Utah, but Then things flipped after halftime, and the game wasn't over yet. Ducks found their shot in the third quarter, and Chance Gray was really the catalyst for Oregon. She got to the free throw line 8 times in the third quarter, made 5 of them as Oregon clawed back into the ballgame. And then early in the fourth quarter, this was really where the Ducks got back into the game, an 11-0 run early in the fourth quarter brought the game to 7. You could sense some momentum coming for the Ducks, but against the number 3 team in the country, Colorado, with a lot of bullets and a team that was pretty healthy, was able to out-sustain and outlast the Ducks as they continued to move forward, and it was Colorado who ended up getting the victory. So 2 tough battles for Oregon where they were in it in the fourth quarter in both, but 2 losses for Oregon over the weekend. It was Coach Kelly Graves after the game, and he met with the media. So here is Coach as he talks with the media after the game against Colorado.
What did you like about how the team fought back and forth there?
Yeah, well, the second half, we just competed better, you know. We were just better in every phase a little bit. We got more aggressive. That was the talk at halftime. We wanted to, you know, A, get the ball inside more frequently, and B, get to the basket, and we did. I think Chance got to the line about 10 times or so in that second half, and you know, Grace got to the basket. We got Philly loose a little bit, so yeah, we just can't spot a top 5 team. You know, I don't know what it was at halftime. It was got to be 18 or 20. You just can't do that and then come out and play. You know, they're going to relax a little bit. I get it in the second half, but we fought. What did we cut it to? Can't remember. 7, and then turnover. You know. That resulted in a layup at the other end, and there you go. For all intents and purposes, then it became a lot tougher. But I was really proud of the team, how they competed in the second half. We just got to do that right from the get-go, and I don't completely understand why.
What does it say about this group to go into halftime down that big and then make it a game and make it competitive down the stretch?
Yeah, that we've got some gamers, we've got some competitors, some people that play with pride. And, you know, and they showed that in the second half. You know, they showed that.
Coach, with how fast Sherrod is, and, you know, they're making a lot of their money off the fast break, you guys holding only 8 points. What was kind of the defensive assignment against her?
Well, just get back. I mean, you know, she's hard to contain in the half court. She's impossible to guard in the full court if she's getting downhill and going with a head of steam. We just don't have anybody that can match that quickness, athleticism. So, you know, second half, it's kind of ironic, you know, we wanted to get back, you know, that was the plan to start the game, but we only got 1 offensive rebound in the first half. So we said in the second half, let's just all get back. And then we ended up with like 7 offensive rebounds, so go figure. But, you know, listen, this whole weekend, I thought defensively we played well enough to at least compete and be close and win these games. We just don't have enough firepower offensively. You know, it's a struggle, it's a grind to try and score. And, you know, I thought second half, like I said, we did better. We got aggressive. We got to the line more. We got to, you know, hit some threes. We've got to, you know, they were just sitting on Philly the whole night long. They weren't even guarding players. You know, at times they weren't guarding 2 players on the perimeter. So unless you have somebody that can knock those down, well, what the hell are you going to do? So we've just got to, you know, keep the confidence level up. And but at some point, our players have to see the ball go through the basket. That's the only way. I can pump them up all I want to, but at some point, they've got to see it go through in a game.
With the struggles offensively, just how would you rate the team's defense tonight, and how has that kind of been as a role in your guys' games kind of moving forward through the Pac-12 season against some tough opponents?
Yeah, our next 5 opponents are ranked. I told the team after the game, I said, guys, it doesn't get any easier. I mean, we're going to see nothing but ranked teams here for the rest of the season. But, yeah, I thought our defense was good. We held them to 34% from the field. You know, and when we've done that, you know, that's all I can ask for. But the downside is they got 20 offensive rebounds. You know, if we cut that in half and cut their second chance points in half, you know, then you have a chance. So there's a good side and a bad side to it. But defensively, like I said before, we're defending well enough, you know, to hold 2 top 10 teams, okay, in the low 60s the last 2 nights. Actually, Utah didn't even get to 60, and they're the leading scoring team in the conference. That's good enough. You just can't beat teams scoring 48, and I think we scored 48 last night. So, you know, we've got to build on that defense, but, you know, it's at the offensive end. We got to find some answers.
It was a game for Chance where her shots weren't falling, but she was set a career high with 12 free throw attempts. What did you like from her effort?
Well, she was aggressive, and that's what, you know, smart players do. If the shot's not going down, then you find another way to score. Usually, though, when you get to the line like that, you start to get a rhythm because you see the ball go through the net, and it just never really happened. So, you know, and I ask a lot of those players. They play a lot of minutes. You know, Philly didn't quite have the same get up and go, I don't think, in the first half tonight. Well, she played, what, 38 minutes the other night? You know, we're playing. I don't know why the Pac-12 has gone to this 7 o'clock Friday night and noon. Is there a reason? Can you guys answer me that? We used to always play 6 and 2, and now they're going 7 and noon. I mean, in the few houses that actually get the Pac-12 network, is that somehow getting higher ratings? I don't get that. You know, and so for teams like us who just don't have a deep bench, you know, that's a quick turnaround for these guys. So, but then Philly got it rolling. I'm proud of her. She had a heck of a weekend.
We saw Sophia in the walking boot. Is she out long term?
Yeah, I never mess with that stuff. I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, and Kennedy Williams is still hobbling. You know, we can only play her in case of emergency, quite frankly. And yeah, we're just you know, we don't have a lot of guard play. So when we lose one like Sophia and then Kennedy, that, you know, puts us in a tough spot. But it is what it is. You got to play through it. You know, got to play through it.
And I know you've said you're not going to make excuses with injuries, but do you think some of these lineup changes with the injuries have kind of affected how you've started games? You missed Grace last game.
Yeah, but we've started actually relatively well. You know, tonight we didn't, but you look at our history, even in Pac-12, we've played everybody relatively outside of Stanford Hill. Pretty close early, you know, and I don't think that's been our issue, our starts.
Going back to the rebounding, they out-rebound you in the first half, but then you match them in offensive rebounds, out-rebound them just slightly in total rebounds in the second half. What do you attribute that kind of flip on the boards to?
I think just they played with a little bit more pride and toughness in that second half. And, you know, we have to do that right from the start. I feel a lot better. You guys, I obviously don't like to lose ever, but I feel better about this game after the way we played the second half. You know, that showed me we played with some character, and so I'm proud of them in that regard.
What do you think is motivating this team? What maybe motivated them at halftime to kind of come out and play a little bit better? Offensively, is it just kind of a rhythm thing for them, or what kind of gets them going and into a mindset where they can come back and make it a 7-point game?
I don't know, because I don't know whatever that was. I'll do it at the start. You know, I tell you, I have a lot of respect for Colorado. As you guys know, JR played for me. She coached with me her first 5 years in coaching. I'm really proud of her. One of her assistants, Taylor Carr, played for me, and she was an assistant here for a couple of years after she graduated. And Toriano, JR's husband, also worked for me as well. I'm really proud of them. And Jalen Sherrod, I have a lot of respect for her. And, you know, it was 5 years ago, her freshman year, we beat these guys by 50 here. It was Jalen's freshman year. And I remember she had tears in her eyes after the game. She played her heart out that game. Played till the final buzzer, and it wasn't even close. And now look, 5 years later, you know, what she's done to the program. She's stuck with them, you know, 5 years, and look at the change that they've made. And so I'm really, you know, I have a lot of respect for that locker room. You know, JR is like a daughter to me, and you know, you hate to lose. If I'm going to lose, you know, I don't mind them being the winners. But she's just somebody that I think we should all look up to. You know, she plays the right way. She plays with passion. She elevates her teammates. You know, she does all the things that, you know, the impactful players are supposed to do. And that's pretty neat. And, you know, listen, I told JR before the game, and I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way. They play like an old men's team in rec league. You know what I'm talking about there? Guys that just freaking know how to play. That's a compliment, so I don't want anybody saying that it's not. That's a compliment. You know, they make the right plays, they move the ball, they get it around, they play with a high IQ. And guess what? They have 5 fifth-year seniors. You know, there's not a single player in that rotation that hasn't played at least 3 years of basketball college in that program. And that just makes a huge difference. And so they're fun to watch. I mean, I watched a ton of their games leading up to this one. They're just fun to watch. They play their butts off, and they play the right way. And that comes from Coach JR.
That is Coach Kelly Graves with some high praise for his opponent on Sunday in Colorado. Obviously, a lot of history between him and Coach J.R. Payne as they coached together. She played actually for Coach Graves when they were early in their career. And, well, a whole lot of respect not only for Coach Payne, but also for the best player for Colorado in Sherrod, who had a pretty solid game and a lot of fight. So a whole lot of praise from Coach Kelly Graves. And, well, because Colorado's a good team, and there's a whole lot of good teams coming down the pipeline for Oregon women's basketball. Those were the first 2 of a 7-game stretch against top 25 opponents. And the big one is coming up this weekend. It's a solo weekend for Oregon women's basketball as the Ducks play on Sunday, just Sunday, 4 o'clock against Oregon State. That's February 4th at Matthew Knight Arena. So a big game. Hopefully everyone can make it over to Matthew Knight Arena. All right, we got to get a timeout, and we're talking to 2 of the star players from the ball game. Grace Van Sluten coming back against Colorado, putting together a good stat line. Same with Chance Gray, who put together 2 solid performances on the weekend. Hearing from the Oregon women's basketball stars next on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot fast and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
We're back here in the Country Financial Studio on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Mr. Milano's on point, like OnPoint Community Credit Union. Thanks, Knight. That's what was on Knight's hand out of this break. We've got to continue to talk about women's basketball. I don't even have time to unpack whatever's going on in the corner over there, but it's Oregon women's basketball, and both Chance Gray and Grace Van Sluten were able to talk to some members of the media after the game. Well, here is the 2 Oregon women's basketball stars on Sunday.
How did you guys
able to kind of put the first half behind you and get back into it, closer to 7 there in the fourth?
I just think we knew we had to come out and really compete. We didn't really compete in the first half. Our attitudes weren't there, energy wasn't there, and we came out in the second half, I think, with better energy, knew that we could play with this team and just competed.
Chance, was it a specific adjustment that Kelly told you at halftime to try to get to the hoop? You got a career high with 12 free throw attempts.
Yeah, I just needed to play a little bit more aggressive than I was in the first half and don't settle for shots, so it was one of those things.
When you're in a game like that, when you're down at halftime and the mindset is compete, does the mindset ever change from compete and then look up at the scoreboard and actually we have a chance at winning this game when you get the score that close like you did late?
I think we felt that little bit of run, that little bit of energy, and knew that we got it within, I think, 7. And I think that gave us a little energy. We just, needed to get some crucial stops, and we didn't. And, they went on a run back.
You guys have been pretty hobbled at the guard spot this year. I know you don't want to make excuses about injuries, but what's been the adjustment just for obviously playing more minutes? Grace, you've had to bring the ball up the court and run some offense. What's just been the adjustment for both you guys?
Well, like you said, bring the ball up the floor. We know Chance can't bring the ball up the floor, run the offense for the whole, 40-minute game. So I think just switching off, that's kind of been my adjustment, is bring the ball up.
Yeah, just have to make adjustments. We just have to keep playing our game, and hopefully it keeps doing the job.
Grace, obviously you wanted to be out there, but did you get anything out of watching and, ways you could impact the team differently, anything you tried to bring into this one, getting back out there?
Watching, you see a lot of stuff that you don't see on the floor. You see a lot of kick-out opportunities, stuff like that. So just kind of playing a little slower and seeing all options. I think I tried to go into this game with that.
Is there an adjustment period at all coming from a game where you don't play and then playing basically 39 minutes in this one? Is there an adjustment period with that at all?
I was a little tired. I had to kind of get that second win. But other than that, not really.
Seems like you kind of got that second win during halftime. You came out third, fourth quarter to come back and bring the game within 7. What was it that kind of motivated you to be able to come out and have that confidence that you can knock down some of those shots, especially far away?
Yeah, I think I was just more open in the second half, and I took it and I was confident and, wasn't second-guessing myself, and it worked out well. And, my teammates were keeping the key pretty open for me, so just took the opportunities.
Does this loss feel any different than maybe the loss on Friday?
Well, I can't really speak on that because I wasn't in the game, but, it sucks the ones where, you can definitely win it and you just don't pull it out.
That's Grace Van Sluten and Chance Gray talking about Oregon women's basketball after the game. A tough-fought weekend for the Ducks on the hardwood against 2 top 20 teams in Utah and a top 5 team in Colorado. And it doesn't get any easier. Oregon State coming off of wins against both Colorado and Utah over the weekend. Well, they come into Matthew Knight Arena coming up on Sunday. So a big game for Oregon women's basketball against the Beavers coming up on the docket. All right, we got to get to our final timeout. And when we come back, it's almost baseball season. There's some track that's going on. There's a whole lot more around the athletic department that we have to get to. We're back after this timeout, coming back to Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by your local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
into the building for the first time after the shooting. It was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because feeling full can sound like this.
How did the interview go? I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
And like this.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/act now. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union here in the Country Financial Studio. Night has gotten illustrative. It's now just a drawing of me on his hand. All right, it's almost baseball season coming up in just about 3 weeks. Yeah, it's sneaking up before you know it. I actually have a calendar. It goes in 3-week blocks, and Oregon baseball is on it now. So that's how close we are to baseball season. Earlier last week, a lot of the baseball players were able to catch up with the media. Isaac Aon was able to take some time and chat. Here is the pitcher for Oregon baseball, Isaac Aon.
How you feeling?
Feeling great. Feeling stronger and healthier than ever, so I'm excited to go into this next season.
What was the injury, if you want to share?
Yeah, so the injury I had was the UCL brace repair. So basically I had a tear in my UCL, so they just went in and reinforced my UCL with kind of like a brace, like a wire thing, and just reinforced it around. And it's the same UCL, just stronger.
Is it the same procedure that Adam Meyer had?
Yes.
Did you talk to him about that at all?
I kind of picked his brain about before I got the surgery, like how he was feeling, because he was a couple months into it at that point. So I just kind of picked his brain, and I figured out like that I wanted to do it as well. So I definitely picked his brain on that.
At what point did you get that procedure done?
I got the procedure done November 16th.
But I guess just take us through, obviously, probably the first time in a long time that you've gone that long without playing a baseball game. So what is that like mentally? How do you get through that off season?
Yeah, so mentally it was definitely different, because it was, like you said, the first time I've ever went without baseball for a long time in my life. But at the same time, it was also very eye-opening, and I was able to learn more about myself and actually live a college life, as baseball wasn't really my main focus. It was more of getting healthy and focusing on my academics, and I was able to hang out with friends I wasn't really always able to hang out with because I had baseball as my priority. So it was awesome to be able to not focus on baseball for a little bit, but at the same time, not having baseball, I kind of got that fire relit under me to, come back this year. So now I'm back and better than ever, and I'm feeling good. So
How do you feel like that time off just helped you as a player? Just now that you're back and you're able to pitch again?
When you're without baseball, it kind of gives you like that fire. Like, what if it gets taken away from me again? So you kind of learn to internalize and embrace every moment that you're on the field, especially at practices. Like, I'm more excited to be at practice now because I know that without baseball, it sucks. So I'm definitely more in the moment when I'm practicing and, playing in scrimmages at the moment.
What are you working on now?
Right now, I'm just working on just staying healthy and a little bit of my cleaning up my arm path right now, but everything's looking good. Just little minor adjustments.
Are you still planning on throwing a cutter this year?
I'm not. I don't think I'm going to throw the cutter this year, just because I'm working on my other three, trying to get them better. So I don't think that'll be in the mix for me this year.
What's it been like working with Hawk now for, 6-8 months?
Hawk's a great dude. Definitely a very vet when it comes to the game. Very smart. So he's definitely helped me in a lot of ways. So I'm excited to go into this next season with what I've learned from him.
Has he brought more of like an analytical element into the staff at all?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, he has, big league, it's the word I'm looking for. He has experience in the big league, so they do a lot of analytic stuff. So he was able to bring it to our team and kind of teach us on stuff we weren't very, we didn't know much about. So I kind of dove deeper into my analytics and was able to understand and explain what works best on my pitches when this analytic is here or there. So I'm able to get my pitches better.
What went into your decision to return this year as opposed to signing with the Nationals? Just take me through that process.
I wanted to. No, I didn't play, so I wanted to be able to come back and do something for, Oregon and Waz. Waz has treated me very well since I've been here, so I thought I could give back to come and play at least and do something good for our team.
Watching from the dugout last year, what do you think was the key to success that got Oregon so far last year into the tournament?
I just think it was how close the team was. We had a very strong bond. We lost a lot of pitching, but a lot of guys stepped up. So I think it was just the ability to have a strong team and realize that everyone's a leader and everyone can step up at any moment. So I think that was a big part that got us far.
Some of those things are some of those facets kind of things you hopefully the team wants to take into this season?
I do think so. I think our team is very close already, just as close as we were last year. So I'm feeling very good about the team. We have a lot of new key pieces, and I think we're going to be very good like we were last year.
What have you seen from some of those second-year guys like Turner, like Grayson, like Jackson Pace, Grabman?
With those guys, I've seen a lot more maturity. Once you get that 1 year under your belt, the maturity goes through the roof. So you're just seeing the way they carry themselves, the way they're pitching. It's just night and day from when they were freshmen. Same for me. Like when you're your freshman year, you get that season, the next year you come and you're just that much more confident because you have that experience already. So definitely maturity I've seen out of them.
As one of the older guys in the room now, going into your fourth year, are guys starting to pick your brain about how to be a college pitcher? Like you were a Friday night guy when you were fully healthy.
Yeah, definitely. Some guys have definitely picked my brain a lot more than others. But I'm definitely a guy that they come to, me or RJ, especially being the vets of the pitching staff. We try to help as much as we can, whether it's pitching or maybe mechanics or on maybe a pitch grip. So we do anything we can to help the other guys.
That is Isaac Aon talking about the season that's coming up in 18 days. Yeah, that's first pitch for Oregon baseball against Oklahoma at the Shriners Classic down in Texas. I'll be there. I hope everyone else makes the trip down to Texas as well. Also, it was a big weekend for Oregon athletics on the track at the Razorback Invitational. How about Jada Ross, an NCAA lead now in the shot put after a strong performance from her world number 5, the number 8 collegiate performer, and a meet record. How about that? And then it was good on the field. It was almost even better on the track. How about the distance medley relay for the women? A school record for the quartet of distance runners for Oregon. At the 1,200-meter leg, it was Claudia Klazamirska who put in a 3:15. Then in the 400, it was Ella Clayton, put in a 52.6. Ella Newton at the 800 put in a 2:05. And then Maddie Elmore capped it off with a 4:33 1,600. Yeah, that is a new school record on the track. A whole lot more to follow. Also, 24 Ducks named to the Pac-12 Fall Academic Honor Roll. Congratulations to them. A whole lot going on. Tomorrow, it's Joey on the show. We'll see ya. Go Ducks.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely